You see these protesters toppling those old Confederate statues? Good job. I like them tearing down those racist statues sculptured by racist sculptors. Every one of those statues are a reminder of the days of slavery in the land of the free, fueled by deep-seated racism. The racist owners of slaves in this country have been immortalized by the people and builders of those statues. What needs to be done is every single statue, not just the Confederate ones, but every statue should be removed. Of course, there are thousands and thousands of statues worldwide, and I would never attempt to speak about all of them, but there are some that are extremely patriotic to most, if not all, white America. I will also look at a few unfamiliar ones that nonetheless should be taken down. Did you know that in the Bible, the Most High decrees what should be done with statues made by the hand of man? Did you know the Bible even addressed these ancient idolatrous practices? I will give you Bible as we move forward in this video, but for now, I want to show certain statues that should also be removed. Now, pardon me if I slip and use language unbecoming a Christian, because I am not a Christian. However, I will be careful not to be too profane, but I may use a word or two not typical of my professionalism. You understand, don't you? Okay, thanks. Let's start with one of the most loved and worshipped sculptures in America, undoubtedly by all white people, Mount Rushmore, in Pennington County, South Dakota. Former President George Washington, Thomas Jefferson, Theodore Roosevelt, and Abraham Lincoln. They all were slave owners with hundreds of slaves. Yep, including Thomas Jefferson, James Madison, James Monroe, Andrew Jackson, Martin Van Buren, William Henry Harrison, John Tyler, James K. Polk, Zachary Taylor, and on and on. Good old George Washington loved his slaves so much, he even had false teeth from his slaves' own mouth. What's up with that? And this guy, Thomas Jefferson, the third president of the United States, had sex with Sally Hemings and gave her 6 children because he could. Sally was 14 years old and Thomas Jefferson was 40 years old when he met her. He allegedly loved her so much she lived with him at this place, Monticello, in Charlottesville, Virginia. She had an 18 by 14 room right next to Thomas Jefferson's bedroom. For the life of me, I do not believe that man truly loved her. He loved that black booty. If he truly loved her, why did he not make every possible presidential act to abolish slavery for her people? And why is there a 19-foot tall bronze statue of a man who was a pedophile as the president of the United States in Washington, D.C. at the Thomas Jefferson Memorial? Tear that tired-ass statue down. Remember how this video started off? Protesters were ripping down a statue in San Francisco. That statue was Francis Scott Key, the one who wrote the national anthem. Yep, I'm glad they ripped that piece of crap down. He was a straight-up racist, and racist America brilliantly kept that information from us. We had to sing that song in grade school, and they still sing that song at sporting events by some of the most famous people. But Here are lyrics of that song you may or may not have ever heard. Ever.
Their blood has washed out their foul footsteps, pollution. No refuge could save the hireling and slave from the terror of flight, nor the gloom of the grave. And the star-spangled banner in triumph doth wave. Refuge could save the hireling and slave, nor the gloom of the grave.
I just wanted to share something with you. Sean King, who writes for the New York Daily News, paragraphs from Sean's piece about this. He says, first off, he's talking about the Star-Spangled Banner. He says, first off, the song, which was originally written as a poem, didn't become our national anthem until 1931, which was 117 years after Francis Scott Key wrote it. Most of us have no true idea what in the hell we've been hearing or singing all these years. But as it turns out, Key's full poem actually has a third stanza, which few of us have ever heard. In it, he openly celebrates the murder of slaves. Yes, really. It goes like this. No refuge could save the hireling and slave from the terror of flight or the gloom of the grave, and the Star-Spangled Banner in triumph doth wave, or the land of the free and the home of the brave. America, who were being hired by the British military to give them strength, not only in the War of 1812, but in the Battle of Fort McHenry in 1814. These black men were called the Corps of Colonial Marines, and they served valiantly for the British military. And Francis Scott Key despised them. He was glad to see them experience terror and death in war, to the point that he wrote a poem about it, and that poem is now our national anthem. Francis Scott Key left absolutely no doubt that he was a stone-cold bigot. He came from generations of plantation-owning bigots. They got wealthy off of it. Key, as District Attorney of Washington, fought for slavery and against abolitionists every chance he got. Even when Africans in D.C. were injured or murdered, Francis Scott Key stood strong against justice for them. He openly spoke racist words against Africans in America. Key said that they were, quote, a distinct and inferior race of people which all experience proves to be the greatest evil that afflicts a community.
Now, when have you ever heard that stanza? Those black entertaining singers and actors, I call them house Negroes. I, Hadar Yaakov, would be categorized as a field Negro because I do not subscribe to the masses' intellectual, strategically modern-day mind slavery. Tear those statues down. They are a constant reminder of the physical, spiritual, and mind-altering slavery in America.
I know that they watching me, trying to figure me out. Like, what's my life like? Am I committed, devout? Perception is relying on what you trained your sight like. So what you see is whatever gets permitted by your eyes, right? I'm guessing that it's okay if they follow me, as long as they know that the praise is never no, not to me. No, not to be condescending. My philosophy is artistry presented should never become the god of me. Pros become the cons, artists kind of me. But to become content with this content leaves room for the kind of picture tent in the concept. Why you sit at the feet of beneath this monolithic object, not painted in the image of God, but chiseled in the image of flaw. Sin is spitting redemption presented under a continual clause. Covenant of the brothers pulling out the rug from under you all. Standing on solid ground, mud can't hold a structure for long. Let me ask what you're building on, corruption or the word of y'all constructed.
Now, why do you need a statue of a woman who was satisfying the President of the United States' sexual drive, making him an adulterer and her a whore? Why immortalize a people who were sinful and wicked? You see, all sins can be forgiven, and we all were born in sin. But the difference is, once you become a leader of the people, all sinful acts must cease. And that cannot happen without the power of the Ruach. Neither Marilyn Monroe or John F. Kennedy had the Ruach in their lives. I will look at scripture that tells us the description of idols and what to do with them. Of course, the secular world does not abide by the laws and commandments of Yahuwah, but every Hebrew understands these laws, and there is absolutely no sadness for the destruction of these man-made idols. I will list the scripture in order of their place in the Bible. Shemot 23:24, Exodus. Do not bow down to their mighty ones, nor serve them, nor do according to their works, but without fail overthrow them, and without fail break down their pillars. Do what to them? Break them down. Shemot 34:13, Exodus. But break down their slaughter places, and smash their pillars, and cut down their asherim. Do what to them? Smash their pillars. Vayikra 26:1, Leviticus. Do not make idols for yourselves, and do not set up a carved image or a pillar for yourselves, and do not place a stone image in your land to bow down to it, for I am your Elohim. What? A stone image? All the statues are made of stone. Devarim 12:1-3, Deuteronomy. These are the laws and right rulings which you guard to do in the land which Elohim of your fathers is giving you to possess all the days that you live on the soil. Completely destroy all the places where the nations which you are dispossessing served their mighty ones, on the high mountains and on the hills and under every green tree. And you shall break down their slaughter places, and smash their pillars, and burn their asherim with fire. And you shall cut down the carved images of their mighty ones, and shall destroy their name out of that place. And that's just a few scripture as to what the Most High thinks about statues. America is not our land. Yahuwah's laws allow us to see Yahuwah's perspective, the perspective of righteousness and reverence to Him alone, not the crap made by man to worship and reverence man. And here's another, Yeshayahu 2:8, Isaiah. And their land is filled with idols. They bow themselves to the work of their own hands, to what their own fingers have made. And the prophet Zechariah recorded this word in chapter 13 and verse 2. And it shall be in that day, declares Yahuwah of hosts, that I cut off the names of the idols from the earth, and they shall be remembered no more. And I shall also remove the prophets and the unclean spirit from the earth. Verse 9. And Yahuwah shall be sovereign over all the earth. In that day there shall be one Yahuwah, and his name one. The words idol, idols, idolater, idolatrous, and idolatry is mentioned more than 120 times in the Bible. The world will never change, never, until Mashiach returns. Right now, the world is being prepped for his return. Scriptures are clear. No need to expound on these scriptures. In the meantime, smash those damn idolatrous statues. This is H.S. Yaakov, his bondservant and watchman. Shalom wa barawak ak wa akwath. Always to the esteem of the Most High, Elohim Yah.